Hey everyone, welcome back to In the Studio. This is episode 7 and today we're going to be talking about both the challenges and the benefits of working on multiple projects at once, otherwise known as stacking. Now, I can't really profess to be an expert here. I'm more of a case study of what not to do. As last year, I basically wrote the same story again and again and again, and then, still not satisfied, I wrote it one more time last week and actually was happy with it for once. But obviously I came out of last year with just one script. I wasn't entirely happy with it and all of my creative energy had kind of run dry. So this year I am trying to get into stacking. And I have been. It's a case of so far so good really. So take last week for example. How it worked was I was doing a rewrite of this story. I love you guys. If you follow me on Twitter, you'll be well aware I have an issue when it comes to rewriting that thing. But at the same time, I was then doing character work and outlines for a new script, which I'm then going to go on to this week. And while I'm doing that, I'm going to then start the prep work for something else. And I think really the benefit is that nobody has infinite creative energy. It's inevitable that after a little while it's going to run dry. And then you're just trying to force it, the whole thing stops being fun, you're not going to be able to come up with as many ideas anyway, and you need that time away, and diving into something else which is fresh, new, exciting, full of new possibility, that can only be a good thing. It keeps your brain fresh, it keeps your creativity fresh, and obviously the advantage is if you can get into a really good rhythm with it, then by the end of the year you're going to have a fair few scripts rather than just one that you've slaved over again and again and again and again, and you're going to be in a much better place really. But now I will hand over to people who I'm sure are much better at this than I am, and like you, let's see what we can learn.
Hi, I'm Sofia and I'm a writer and director. I've recently released my first short film, The Girl's Bathroom, which is available to view now on my YouTube channel, and I made it with funding which I won from Daisy, which is an app for creative collaboration. I'm really excited to continue making short films, but for now we're going to talk about writing and specifically stacking projects. So stacking projects was originally a necessity for me at first because I did a writing degree at university, so that meant that I was quite used to working on multiple pieces of writing at the same time. And since graduating, I've actually found that to be really helpful still as a practice, because if you're working on multiple things at the same time, you can take a break if you get stuck on something, work on a different script, and come back to it when you're more refreshed and you have new ideas in your mind. And I also think that it gives you the opportunity to jump into different characters and different brains and different worlds, and that might spark some inspiration. So if you're stuck on something, you might figure out a plan by working on a different script on how to fix it and how to overcome it. So I find it personally to be really helpful to stack different projects at the same time. There are difficulties to having multiple things that you're working on at the same time, and one of these difficulties is that you might find your progress is slowed on other projects because you're working across a broad spectrum and working on a lot of different things at once. So you might find that there's one script you enjoy writing more than the others and you're focusing all your time on that, and that's meaning that other projects are getting left to the wayside. And I think that's actually quite important, and it can tell you quite a lot, because if you're finding that one script is more enjoyable to write, that might mean that it's more enjoyable for the audience. So then you have to reflect on, why aren't you enjoying writing these other scripts, and what can you add to them, what needs taking away to make those more enjoyable for you to write and for other people to watch as well. So another rut that people can fall into when they're working on multiple things at the same time is having characters who sound the same. So this is something that can happen in first drafts anyway, but it's something that you should pay close attention to if you're working on multiple projects at the same time, because you can find that not only do characters in the same things begin to sound the same, but across all the projects that you're working on. So this is something that you can come to in the editing process and in further drafts. But it's important to consider. So once you begin to get to know your characters better, their voices will probably become more distinct, or you can make them more distinct because you know them more. And making sure of that throughout the process of working on all of your pieces is really important, especially when you're working on multiple things at once. The writing process is full of difficulties and challenges, but I actually find that to be one of the most rewarding things about writing. So those eureka moments where you come up with the best idea for what should happen next, or the best idea for the character, is why I write. So even though stacking projects can be difficult sometimes, I think that it's worth it, and I think that writing in general is difficult. So that, for me, is one of the most fun and rewarding parts of writing anyway, finding solutions to all of these problems. So I hope my rambling helped in some way, and good luck with your writing.
So for me, stacking projects is something that I actually really enjoy doing. I love the freedom of being able to write more than one thing at once. I think my biggest tip is always keeping your work separate and always putting them into organized files so that you can easily move between projects and not just be having like loads of different folders and different like files all over your desktop, because that is just a quick way to feeling like a mess. So I put all pre-production folders, all script drafts, all like anything that I'm doing, I will put into one folder. And for me, I really love making playlists. I think writing can really be affected by music, and so I love to have that on in the background. So I'll probably just play whatever project I'm writing. I have playlists for each one and I put that on, and then I go from there. But I think that the key thing is with writing is if you're not having fun, there's no point in doing it. And so if you get halfway through a script and you get stuck on it, then you may as well just start afresh and start again with something new, or move on to a project that you're already writing. And just, if you have ideas, I think pursue them. I think writing things down and keeping them for another day is also really great. But if you are feeling in that moment like you're so passionate about writing that, whatever you're writing on this thing that you're currently writing, you are just going to want to like move on to the next thing, so you may as well just do it, because that is when you'll have your best ideas. And actually workshopping a new idea can be really helpful for your current ideas. So let's say you get stuck and you're in the middle of like a feature script or in the middle of a short script that you've been working on for a really, really long time. Actually starting another idea can be really helpful, because it will help you to think of your idea in a new, fresh way. And actually scripts aren't exclusive. You can really figure out problems and difficulties that you're having in your current script by writing something new or workshopping someone else's idea. And I think that, yeah, stacking projects can be a lot of fun. It gives you a lot of freedom to move between things and make sure that you're always doing something that you enjoy.
Hi, my name is Stephanie Davis. I am a writer, director, and producer with my production company, Bouncy Boxer Media. I'm constantly coming up with ideas, and so the best way for me to keep everything together is I've created this pipeline worksheet. In this worksheet, I have various tabs that list the shorts, feature films that I want to make in-house, feature films that I want to pitch, episodic, unscripted, and then keeping a tab of my archives, the ones that I filmed already. And actually, I also added a Christmas tab, because you never know when Hallmark wants more Christmas movies, right? Hey, Hallmark. I always find that it's really easy to keep things together, especially when you have so many ideas. If you have some kind of spreadsheet, workbook, or if you have stacked your Dropbox and Google Drive in a way that you can keep track of the stages that everything's in. My Dropbox, I have my feature films tab, which has all the various stages. I know which ones are in outline, which ones are early drafts, which ones are in rewrite, and which ones are ready to shoot if it's ones that I'm doing in-house, and which ones are ready to pitch if it's time to start pitching them out. Being as organized as possible makes things a lot easier, especially if you're doing a lot of your projects in-house. And even if you're just a writer who wants to send things out, this also keeps things into like one category. The pitch tab that I have on my pipeline worksheet actually has about 100 subgenres of the regular genres. So if you need a spark of inspiration, you can look on there, look at each of the subgenres and be like, you know what, I've got a great idea for a Western. And you can fill out that part. And whenever you're ready to start writing it, it's right there for you to spark. You can find that worksheet through my Twitter at Stephanie Directs. That's Stefanie with an F. Message me, hit me up. I will send it to you. I'll try to pin it to my profile too, so that way you can have access to it. But it's just something in Google Drive that I've been sending out. It's just a template that you can make a copy for yourself, do whatever you need to do, but to kind of help keep your entire workflow and your works in progress is all in one spot. Thank you very much for having me, and have a great rest of your week.